Okay, in order to take your drawing and start laying out your drawing on sheets, first thing we need to do is we're going to come over to the left-hand side of our screen to where it says Sheets All. We're going to right-click on the word Sheets All, slide down to the word New Sheet, and select New Sheet. Here we need to go and we're going to load the title block. I'm going to give you a title block for the assignment. And if you go up here to the word Load, select Load, and then we're going to go find the title block that we're going to load, and we're going to find that on the TechEd server. So go to TechEd Share Queue in the file structure. Then you're going to go to One Class Resources. Then we're going to come down and we're going to use the title block from the Intro to CAD course. So select Intro CAD. Slide down again, find title blocks, and then find Revit. Then what we're going to select is going to be the 8.5 by 11 horizontal GASD without any of the backup number files. So 8.5 by 11 horizontal GASD, select it, and then hit open. It should appear in the Select Title Blocks dialog box. Make sure it's highlighted, and then hit OK. This is now our first sheet. It's named A101, and we can now start pulling information onto our sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and just right away we're going to go to our level 1. I'm going to select the level 1 by clicking once, then click and hold, and drag this down onto the sheet. When I come onto the sheet, I'm going to zoom out, and then I'm going to click. Once I click, I can now see the level 1 drawing file. You can manipulate and maneuver your drawing in two ways. You can then click and hold, and you can drag your floor plan onto the title block. You could then also zoom in and click on the title block, and you can drag the title block to center onto your floor plan. Any dimensions that are running off the title block, you'll have to readjust dimensions and move them in. That can easily be done by hitting the Activate View at the top, or you can select a right-click and Activate View. Either option gets you the same results, and you are now able to then activate and move dimensions as if you are in level 1. The dimensioning should be followed for architectural standards. Dimensioning from the outside of the sheathing to a center of window to outside of sheathing. Keep dimensions in nice clean rows. Do not duplicate dimensions in the same row, but you can duplicate dimensions from one side of the house to the other. If you put 20'6" on one side and then again on the other side, that's perfectly acceptable. I would suggest looking at the student example sheets that I gave you in order to mimic the dimensions. Your house should also be set up to have a view scale of 1/4 inch equals a foot. The default view scale for Revit is 1/8 inch equals a foot. So if you're looking at your drawing and your drawing is much smaller on your screen, you need to go to your properties and change the view scale for the view and make that 1/4 inch equals a foot. Once that happens, the drawing will update and then should pretty much fill that title block. It shouldn't be too big. If it's too big, you may have used the wrong dimensions. What I would then recommend, if it's too big, you would probably have to move your dimensions in so that your dimensions will fit on the title block. In order to make sure that your notation is correct, I'm going to go back and I'm going to reference the problem sheet, the drawing that I gave you. You want to mimic these notations, and you want to mimic the notation and dimension style utilized here. All the notes should also be added. So we'll go back to Revit and we'll start adding these things. First thing I'm going to do is run around the building and double check that these dimensions are set properly. So I'm going to go back into my Revit. I'm going to zoom in. I'm actually select the title block and then push the title block over because I know I need to add a note over here. I'm going to go ahead and then activate the view so I can zoom in. And then I'm going to look at the dimensions and say the first dimension goes to window, then grab my dimension tool and I'm going to start adding additional dimensions here as needed. And it looks like we're missing some windows here, so I can't build the rest of this dimension out. I'll have to go back and change that. These dimensions are looking okay, but what I'd like to do is move them in slightly. So just click on them and drag them in, click and drag them in, and then do the same thing for my overall here. Okay. Then I'm going to take a look at this and say, so I have this hardwood floor, and I have all these hardwood floor lines in my drawing file. And when you lay out a drawing, you do not need to have all of the texture files for hardwood floor. It becomes very confusing to look at. So what I'm going to tell you to do is you're going to select the hardwood floor, and then you're going to right-click. And here's where we're going to go ahead and we're going to override the graphics in the view by element. So it's override graphics in view by element. And then we're going to come in here, and where it says surface patterns, which is the pattern for the hardwood floor, we're going to turn off. So we're going to uncheck visibility, hit apply, and hit OK. It's going to clean the drawing up a good bit. Now we have the ability to actually place a note on here for hardwood floor. So at this point I'm going to come up, I'm going to grab my text box, I'll come down into the drawing, I'm going to click, and I'm just going to type in hardwood. And then click back in the drawing. I can see that the overall text is the wrong size, so I can select the text, go up here to the text, and change to be 3/32 instead of 1/4 inch, and it changes in size. Next thing is we need to get those double arrows going in both directions. I'm going to select the hardwood, and then come up here, and this is where I'm going to add my arc leaders on both sides, and then I can kind of turn these. By doing so, what that does is it means that all material is the same. This is all hardwood floor inside here. Next thing we want to go through is we want to go over how to add window and door tags. Window and door tags are going to be the tags that take your information about the window back to the schedule. So we're going to have to get the tags to appear. So I'm going to go back to my Revit, and at the top here, and this is going to be on the annotation tab, at the top where it says tag all or tag by category, I'd like to use tag all because I can get it all done in one motion. I'm going to select the tag all button, and then I'm going to come down, and I want to make sure that my door is highlighted. I'm going to slide down and then also highlight window tags. Once I have both of those highlighted, should be able to get both at the same time. Oh, I have to hold down control. I'm sorry, hold down control, and then you can select door tags and window tags, and then you can hit apply. And once you do that, you can see that the window tags showed up and the door tags as well. Go ahead and hit OK. Now I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now that I know that the tags, if the tags are placed on the inside, the windows are backwards. So what I would then do is click on the window and flip it to the outside, and then flip a window to the outside, and then the tags should be drugged to the outside of the drawing. Okay? So I'll go ahead and take care of that right now as well. Okay? And this is on the outside. That window's correct. Door tags are present. This window would be flipped as well because the tag is on the inside. So we flip the window, hitting the double arrows, and then I can go ahead and drag the 30 out to the outside. Okay? And then don't forget to save your drawing. It's important to save the drawing. Okay, one of the next things I want to cover is how to handle this view label. When you bring an object or drawing onto a sheet, a view label comes with it. And the view label is generally at the far end of any of the view extents. So it sends out a view label that has an incredibly long tail, the same size as the view extents. So you need to shrink the tail, and then you need to move it onto the sheet. To do so, you need to select the view label. Then you need to mouse over the actual view, making the extent box show up. Then once it pops up, you click, and now you get a blue dot that you can select and then drag to make this particular view label a lot smaller. Once that's done, you can click off of the view label, and now you can very carefully select the view label once, and then you get a move arrow icon, and you can drag that up onto your sheet. And once you drag it up onto the sheet and let go, you now have a view label that is more proportional to your drawing sheet. Okay? Okay, with the assignment, after the floor plan, we're going to come down and I'm going to show you how to lay out your elevation views. We'll go ahead and do north and east, and then we'll work through how to do some of the notation on the sheet. So I'm going to go back to Revit. In order to start this process, we need to get a new sheet. So I come to where it says Sheets All. I'm going to right click and select New Sheet. I'm going to select again at 8.5 by 11, hit OK. Now I'm ready to start adding my elevations. So I'm going to go ahead right away. I'll grab East, select it, and I'm going to select and drag, pull it over and drop it. Now, one of the things to go through is how do you adjust this view box so that it's not running off the page and that my levels are visible on the page as well. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to center, to the best of my ability here, quickly the house on my sheet. And then I'm going to go ahead, right click, and I'm going to activate the view. With the view active, I will select one of the two levels. I'll just grab level 1, zoom in, and there is a small purple circle that shows up right next to the level indicator. And then what I'm going to do is select that, and I'm going to then be able to drag both levels in at the same time. I'm going to pull them in relatively close to the house, but not touching the house. And I'll do that for the other side as well. I'm going to pull the level indicators in to the other side as well. Then we just need to right click, deactivate view, and then we'll deal with our view label again. Same way, select a view label, come over the view click, we get our blue dotted line, pull that back close, click off, click on, and then we can drag the view label onto the sheet in relative location to the view. Okay, to go ahead and grab the next one, I'll grab north, do the same exact thing, drag north on, sort of center that. Then I'm going to have to go ahead and I'm going to push my view over to center up the view so the houses are relative orientation to each other. I'm going to then go ahead and activate the view. I'm going to grab a level line just like I did before, pull in the levels. And you want to line up the levels in relative alignment to each other. Same with the level lines on the other side, pull those in. Then you can deactivate the view by right clicking. You can select the view label line, take care of that, and then drag that onto your sheet as well. Now, some of the notation that you're going to be adding to this. Every material needs to be noted. So any material that you see notation for in the assignment, asphalt shingle roof, clapboard siding, then we're also going to add notation for the roof pitch, and then also all the sill heights. All that needs to be added. So we're going to come back. I'm going to go grab my text, and I want to actually start with the leader first because I want to be able to click on the roof and pull off to type in the asphalt shingle. So I'm going to go up here, and instead of starting with the text, I'm going to start with this, the curved leader. So I select the curved leader. I'm going to click on the roof, and notice I come off with the arrow. Then I'm going to click again, and I'm going to type in shingles. I'll click off. And now my text is actually way too big, so I hit escape twice, and now I can change the size of my text like so, and it is far more proportional than that giant 1/4 inch. And we'll pull it down in here. So you're going to go and you're going to add notation for your clapboard siding the same way. You're then also going to need to add notation for the roof pitch. So if I activate that view, what that's going to be called is spot slope. So on my annotation tab at the top, I'll select spot slope. I'm going to then come in, I'm going to select the roof, and then I'm going to pull off the roof and select again. So I'm going to select roof, pull off the roof and select again. And then that is the spot slope. I will deactivate the view. Here I can tell you that the slope of the roof is incorrect. If I look at the slope of the roof, it should be a 612 or 6 inch per 1 foot, also known as a 612. If we needed to adjust this, we can go back and adjust it, and then the spot slope will adjust according to the model.